Avid Mark and the monks of St. Anselm Abbey, Chair Ann Catino and members of the Board of Trustees, St. Anselm faculty and staff, I know you're out there somewhere, delegates from colleges, universities, learned societies, leaders of state and local government, family and friends near and far, students and alumni. Thank you for being here today. I'm truly humbled to be here. And by the way, I knew one day my name would be on a scoreboard. The psalmist says how good and how pleasant it is when brothers and sisters dwell in unity. And while only the monks and the students dwell on this hilltop, unless this ceremony goes really long today, we gather today as united as members and extended members of the St. Anselm community. In this historic moment, we powerfully affirm the past, extending back 130 years, the present, with all of its challenges and opportunities, and the future that we can and must embrace. It began as a simple idea. My wife Patty was retiring from teaching from Stonehill. I was happy but becoming restless, and we were moving south away from the snow and the cold. And then the possibility of St. Anselm College arose, and I have to admit, at first, I did not give it serious thought. Our plan was set, after all, until Patty said, "What do you got to lose?" So we made a left turn, and here we are, ready to face the snow and cold in a new place. Go figure. But I'm so happy that St. Anselm took a chance on me, on us. We simply have been overwhelmed by the warm and the generous welcome and hospitality that is in the Benedictine DNA of this place. St. Anselm has been welcoming and inviting students, faculty, and staff, including presidents, for its entire history, which is why I am particularly thrilled that in a few short months we'll be able to open our new Welcome Center that will serve as the front porch of our college. Our warm welcome won't change, but it sure will be nice to welcome students in an aesthetically beautiful and technologically advanced space. And I'm so pleased to announce that one of our generous alums who are here today has given us a seven-figure gift to help us to welcome to open that front porch. And so this gift, yeah, it's great. This gift, and in addition to that, an additional gift gives great momentum as we close out this final year of our Faith in the Future campaign and achieve our $70 million goal. One thing I know for sure, St. Anselm transforms students. You've heard it in every set of remarks we've heard here today. And even in the short time we've been here, we've met students and alumni who are thankful for their time on the hilltop, thankful for the ways it has made them more courageous, confident, compassionate, and yes, even competitive in the marketplace. But I'm a lifelong learner, and so I wanted to figure out what exactly happens at St. Anselm that is so uniquely transformative. And so I've, true to my academic roots, Tana, I've conducted a little bit of an inquiry, and here's my analysis. And to begin, I want to invoke the image of the Trinity, three persons in one God, that great mystery that my Irish friends always tell me that St. Patrick already figured out. I'm not sure about that. My image of learning at St. A's is also Trinitarian, but with a twist. Three persons in one student. I use the term person here not in a theological or a physical sense, but in a grammatical sense. In grammatical terms, first person, second person, and third person refer to a point of view. Each person has a different perspective indicated, of course, as we know, by the personal pronouns I and you and he and she and it and them and they. And so while my sixth grade grammar teacher, Mrs. Tansey, would be so proud of me for finally learning some grammar, the point here is that I want to apply this construct to the process of education, and especially the kind of education that's at the heart of our mission here. And I'll start with third person. Fundamental to the process of teaching and learning is a desire, even a passion, to study what the educational theorist Parker Palmer calls the great thing. The great thing could be Shakespeare's King Lear, the chemical makeup of glucose, what to do in caring for a patient after heart surgery, the 2016 presidential election, or analyzing the financial data of a Fortune 500 company. These are the great things that are the object of study every day on this campus and campuses around the globe. Third-person learning is where the passion of the faculty member and the curiosity of the student collide. As a faculty member, there is nothing more satisfying than seeing a student get excited about an object of study that excites you. It is this kind of engagement that often leads to further and deeper exploration of a particular area of study, which is the very definition of scholarship. We have an incredible faculty here who are passionate about teaching and learning, continued engagement in their respected fields, and service to the college and beyond. I have some ideas about how to support and sustain third-person learning. Stay tuned. If third-person learning is characterized by a passion for the great thing, second-person learning reminds us that at its essence, learning is relational. If third-person learning answers the "what must we learn" question, second-person learning answers the questions how much must we learn and for what purpose. Learning happens in a community where ideas are debated and opinions informed. At their heart, what colleges do is create a learning commons where learning happens all the time, within and beyond the classroom. In some cases, the most transformational learning comes from another student, the work-study supervisor, a food server in Dave, a patient in the hospital, or a client at a community-based agency. When I was on the faculty at Rhodes College in Memphis, I had the good fortune to collaborate with one of the early pioneers of service learning pedagogy. I'll always remember the frustrated question that one of my best students asked me. He goes, "Professor Favazza, I take amazing classes, and then I have these amazing experiences volunteering out in the community. Why can't these two things connect?" So I began to experiment with integrating service in the community with my classes, and I can tell you the first couple of times I tried it, they were total disasters. But I once had a very wise mentor say to me, "Anything worth doing is worth doing badly." So I persisted, and my faculty collaborator and I ended up publishing one of the first monographs on service learning pedagogy in the field of religious studies and theology. Second-person learning at St. Anselm is alive and well, especially when you consider that a quarter of our students, an astounding figure, a quarter of our students do some type of community service through the Melia Center every week, and that many of our faculty connect service to the classroom. If I can dream with you today, I would like to deepen second-person learning at St. Anselm's, and I have some ideas. Stay tuned. If third-person learning is about the great thing, second-person learning about community, first-person learning focuses on reflection. First-person learning happens when the learner explores classic questions of meaning and identity. Who am I? What are my deepest values, and what's it mean for my next steps? I've learned Spanish, the great thing. I've taught Spanish in the community, relational. And now I ask, who have I become and will become because of these experiences? Reflection. What we learn challenges and affirms our identity at the same time. It forces us to ask introspective, spiritual, and vocational questions about who we are and what we want to be. And this may sound old-fashioned in a context where it seems the point of college is to get a degree and a job. A degree is great. Job's even better. I like having one. But without first-person learning, a degree is not much more than a trophy, and even well-paying jobs can be destructive to the soul. Pay attention. The point of education is giving you the ability to know what is worth thinking about. And knowing what to think about is the result of knowing who you are. I have a few thoughts about how to support first-person learning here at St. A's. Once more, stay tuned. So there's my analysis of what happens on this campus that transforms students into Anselmians. Of course, we know that these kinds of learning are not sequential or hierarchical. Students move fluently between third and second and first-person learning every day. And the amazing thing is that our faculty and our staff and our monastic community all work together to pay careful attention to the learning that happens on this campus. Here, learning is not a spectator sport. It happens when we study the great thing, through engagement with communities and by serious introspection and contemplation. The three persons of learning. We're committed to an education that is simply transformative. Since arriving at the hilltop, I keep getting a very easy question. What is your vision? My vision must be one that emerges from listening carefully to the campus community, fully understanding the Catholic mission lived through this Benedictine identity, and honestly assessing the present and potential human, physical, and financial resources that we have. So as I think about the future and how best to support and advance the three persons of learning, I have some thoughts. I reserve the right for these to change, especially as we are about to embark on a highly collaborative and consultative 3-year strategic planning process. Another wise mentor once said to me, "A good idea without a constituency is an orphan." My goal is to begin with a set of ideas, allow them to take shape through broad campus input, and build momentum and consensus for a limited set of strategic priorities that will improve the student experience and elevate the institution. So here's a few ideas. For its 130-year history, St. Anselm has established itself as one of the top liberal arts schools in the nation through its high-quality undergraduate programs. Without compromising that reputation, we have the capacity to offer a few targeted graduate programs that respond to the present demands of the market and build on existing faculty and programmatic strengths. Tomorrow, the Board of Trustees will vote to approve, at least and I hope we vote to approve, one such program in criminal justice. But we know we have opportunities in other areas as well: nursing and healthcare, business, education, and politics, just to name a few. Such programs will extend rather than weaken the St. Anselm experience. In addition to new graduate programs, we have to add a few targeted interdisciplinary undergraduate programs that respond to the interest of prospective students and families, but also provide our students, especially those in the liberal arts, the opportunity to gain skills beyond the major. In a world where it seems every job involves data analysis and the use of digital technology, we have to make sure we are offering courses and programs to all of our students in a range of areas such as data analytics, cybersecurity, social media, graphic design, computer programming. The list could go on. We want to strengthen the liberal arts, and the best way to do this, in my mind, is to promise students who want to study English and history and theology and sociology the opportunity to also take a few courses in other areas to make them a bit more competitive as they apply for jobs in graduate schools. And speaking of strengthening the liberal arts, we are so fortunate to have institutes and centers that not only extend the transformative power of the curriculum, but also bring the world to St. Anselm. The first among peers is our nationally known New Hampshire Institute of Politics, followed by the regionally acclaimed Chapel Arts Center, the up-and-coming, very excited about that, Center for Ethics in Business and Governance, the Gregory J. Grapponi Humanities Institute, who we hope, with the help of some friends, maybe some friends who are here, will soon occupy a state-of-the-art space on campus. And finally, our mission-critical Center for St. Anselm Studies. Together, they create partnerships and invite people with different perspectives into constructive dialogue and discourse. We have to do a better job of telling the world about the innovative and impressive work of our students and faculty in our institutes and centers. When you cut through all the bells and whistles, the most foundational indicators of educational quality in higher ed are retention and graduation rates. Prospective students and families want to know, do students persist and do they graduate in 4 years? With a 3-year average retention rate of about 90% and a strong 4-year graduation rate, we can be proud, and we are proud. But we can do better, especially with our students from underrepresented populations. We must build flexibility into the mode of instruction in our academic policies, more summer and winter term online courses, an easier academic path for our transfer students, and dual enrollment courses with area high schools, especially Catholic high schools, that would play a role in retaining students and keeping them on track to graduate, as well as attracting transfer students to us. I'm so pleased that the Faculty Senate recently approved a new academic calendar that will allow us to roll out a more robust January term in 2021. Courses offered during the J term will assist students to stay on track and offer learning opportunities in an innovative and variety of different contexts. Another strategy to support students. I told you I had some ideas, so just sit tight. Another strategy to support students in the three-person of learning is to break down silos and to create a dynamic student success commons in the new Gene Center. Here, students will find support in one stop, whether they are seeking academic support, assistance in finding an internship or studying internationally, or exploring a career or graduate school. Beyond making it easier for our students to find support, it is critical, and I want to guarantee that every student who graduates from St. Anselm has at least one high-impact learning experience to find as an internship, study abroad, or undergraduate research. These are the most transformative experiences we can offer students on a campus that is already transformational. We must figure out a way to do this. We live in a world where the struggle to create diverse, equitable, and inclusive communities is facing a crucible. It is not enough to want such a community. We must take direct action. We have to review, and I'm going to ask our staff to do this, we have to review all of our policies to make sure that we are not making it more difficult to recruit, admit, hire, and retain student, staff, and faculty of color. As my esteemed predecessor, Father Jonathan, has said, quote, "Inclusiveness is a way of being in the world, a state of heart and mind that knows when we step into the unfamiliar, when we open ourselves to that what is new or different, we become more than what we might have been," unquote. Living inclusively requires that we do the hard work of looking inside ourselves to examine our biases and assumptions. Every St. Anselm employee will have the opportunity for some training and professional development so that together we understand that being a Catholic and Benedictine college means that we are a diverse and inclusive college. As a young boy growing up in Memphis, on the day that they slew the dreamer, Dr. Martin Luther King, I cannot stress enough how important this is for me. Finally, let's shine a light on who we are. A Catholic and Benedictine college. Our monastic community gives so much to the identity of this place, including a daily rhythm of prayer and work. I want us to explore a program that plays to this strength. If study abroad is a prime example of second-person learning, community, then why not a study within program as an example of first-person learning? I believe that there are students all over this country who would say yes to an invitation to live for a month or a semester on this campus and be part of the monastic rhythm of prayer combined with a program of study of Eastern and Western sources of contemplation and action. This is very much an unformed idea for me, but I am confident we have many on this community who could help give shape what could be a model of transformative education. So there's some ideas. I have others, but we'll discuss and debate them all, guided by the knowledge that successful graduates are not just defined by a good job or generous support to their alma mater, though we really like that, but also a strong sense of compassion, thankfulness, humility, joy, kindness, and most especially, empathy. A couple of weeks ago, I attended an annual dinner sponsored by the Manchester NAACP, where I heard a young woman of color talk about the challenges she had faced in her life and her hopes for the future. And then she said something that so resonated with me as I thought about this event today. She said, quote, "As I think about my future, I do not plan to limit my challenges, but to challenge my limits," unquote. And so I leave this thought with you today as we begin this new moment in the history of St. Anselm College. We will not limit our challenges out of fear or conflict or timidity, but rather we will challenge our limits by coming together to accomplish the hard but necessary things to keep this college vital for the next generation and the generation after that. Again, thank you for your presence here today, and may God bless St. Anselm College.